Bobby and the Floating Island. The evening sun cast a warm golden light across the backyard. Bobby sat cross-legged on the soft grass, his favorite book open in his lap. His mother sat nearby, rocking in her chair with a cup of tea in her hands, enjoying the peaceful evening air. Bobby's face was full of curiosity as he turned the pages of his book. "Mom, listen to this!" Bobby exclaimed, his voice filled with excitement. His mother looked up from her tea, smiling. "What is it, Bobby?" "It's about a floating island." Bobby read aloud from the page, his voice full of wonder. "High above the world, hidden in the clouds, lies a magical island that floats in the sky. Only those who truly believe can find it." His mother chuckled softly, leaning over to take a look. "A floating island? That sounds like a wonderful story. Do you think something like that could really exist?" Bobby looked up at the sky, his eyes wide with wonder. "I don't know. But what if it does? What if there's really an island up there, just floating in the clouds?" His mother laughed, her eyes twinkling. "Well, anything's possible if you believe in it enough." Bobby's gaze remained fixed on the sky, his mind racing. He'd always been a curious boy, and now he was even more curious than ever. Could such a place really exist? His thoughts spun with possibilities. "I want to find it, Mom." "I really do," Bobby said earnestly, turning to his mother. "I want to see the floating island." She smiled and patted his head. "Well, if you ever find it, you'll have to tell me all about it." Bobby smiled back, his eyes twinkling with excitement. He closed the book and hugged it to his chest. "I will, I promise." That night, Bobby lay in his bed, still thinking about the floating island. His room was quiet, the soft glow of the nightlight casting gentle shadows on the walls. But no matter how much he tried, he couldn't stop thinking about the island in the clouds. His eyes fluttered shut, and his mind drifted off, still imagining the magical place. What if it's real? Bobby thought as he sank into a deep sleep. Bobby's eyes snapped open. He gasped, his heart racing. He wasn't in his room anymore. He was floating high above the ground, surrounded by soft, fluffy clouds. "What's going on?" Bobby whispered, looking around in awe. A soft, melodic voice called out from behind him. "You've made it!" Bobby turned to see a creature floating beside him. It was a glowing being with wings made of shimmering light, its eyes kind and welcoming. "Who are you?" Bobby asked, his voice trembling with excitement. "I am Zephyra," the creature said, smiling warmly. "And welcome to the floating island." Bobby's mouth dropped open in shock. "I'm really here? This is the floating island?" Zephyra nodded. "Yes, indeed. You believed in it, and so, you found it." Bobby felt his heart race with joy. "This is amazing. I can't believe it's real." Zephyra fluttered her wings and motioned for Bobby to follow. "Come, I'll show you around. There's much to see and learn here." Bobby followed eagerly, his eyes wide with awe as he floated through the sky. The island in the clouds was just as he had imagined: lush greenery, sparkling waterfalls, and creatures of all shapes and sizes. Some had wings, others had glowing eyes, and a few seemed to change shape as they moved. "This is incredible!" Bobby exclaimed. "There are so many creatures here. What do they all do?" Zephyra smiled. "Each one has a special gift. Some of us can shape the clouds, others can speak to the wind. Some of us even make the stars twinkle at night." Bobby's eyes widened. "You can make the stars twinkle? How?" Zephyra laughed softly. "It's a special gift passed down through the generations. We guide the stars, making sure they shine brightly for everyone below." Bobby was fascinated. "I want to learn. What else can you teach me?" Zephyra's eyes sparkled. "I can teach you the most important lesson of all: how to listen to the wind." "The wind?" Bobby asked, confused. "Yes," Zephyra said. "The wind carries wisdom from the world below and from the sky above. If you learn to listen carefully, you can hear the stories it has to tell. Bobby was eager to try. How do I listen to the wind? Zephyra motioned for Bobby to close his eyes. Focus on the sound. Let go of everything else and just listen. Bobby obeyed, closing his eyes and focusing on the soft rustle of the wind. At first, all he could hear was the rush of air around him, but then, something changed. He heard whispers, soft and distant, as if the wind was telling him a secret. The wind, it's talking to me, Bobby said in awe. I can hear it. Zephyra nodded. Yes, Bobby. The wind speaks to those who are willing to listen. It tells stories of faraway places, of people's dreams, and of the world's wonders. Bobby smiled, feeling a sense of peace wash over him. I think I understand now. The wind isn't just air, it's full of stories. It is, Zephyra agreed. And there's more to learn. The island is full of wisdom, if you know where to look. Zephyra led Bobby through the island, introducing him to many of the creatures who lived there. Some could shape the clouds into animals, while others created rainbows from nothing. Each one had a unique talent, and Bobby was fascinated by everything they could do. One creature, with shimmering blue scales, showed Bobby how to make the clouds change shape. All you need is a little focus, the creature said. Imagine the shape you want, and the clouds will follow. Bobby tried it, focusing hard on the shape of a dragon. To his amazement, a dragon-shaped cloud appeared in the sky, roaring as if alive. This is amazing! Bobby shouted, laughing with joy. Zephyra smiled. You're a quick learner, Bobby. But there's one more thing I want to show you. Bobby looked up, curious. What is it? Zephyra led him to the heart of the island, where a glowing crystal floated above a small pool of water. The crystal radiated a soft, warm light. This is the heart of the sky, Zephyra explained. It is the source of the island's magic. It keeps us afloat in the clouds and gives us the power to control the wind, the clouds, and the stars. Bobby stared at the crystal in awe. It's beautiful. How does it work? The crystal works through belief, Zephyra said. As long as people believe in the magic of the sky, the island will remain here. If belief fades, the island will drift away, hidden once more. Bobby thought for a moment. So, the island only exists because people believe in it? Yes, Zephyra nodded. And that is why it is so important to share the stories of the island. When people believe, the magic stays alive. Bobby smiled, understanding. I'm going to tell everyone about this place. I'll make sure they believe. Zephyra's wings fluttered with joy. That is the most important thing you can do, Bobby. Never stop believing in the magic of the sky. Suddenly, Bobby felt a shift in the air. He blinked and found himself back in his bed, the sunlight filtering through his window. His heart raced as he tried to remember what had just happened. Had it all been a dream? He sat up, looking around. His room looked just as it always did, but something felt different. He felt happy, as if the island and its magic were still with him. Bobby smiled to himself. Even if it had just been a dream, he knew one thing for sure: the floating island was real in his heart, and he would always believe in its magic.